Hello readers, I'm the Avid Reader and today I'm comparing Dominion, which is written by C.J. Sansom in 2012, to The Man in the High Castle, written by Philip K. Dick in 1962. So these are both alternative histories of the Nazis winning World War II, and this was written 50 years before this was written. But although the premise is kind of similar, they diverge in a lot of ways. So in Dominion, the Nazis don't outright win World War II really. They just make peace with Britain in 1940 after Britain screwed up in Norway. So Britain kind of retains their independence and the British Empire still exists. And you can see a map here that the Nazis haven't really conquered all of Europe. It's more that they've conquered a large part of Eastern Europe, especially a large part of the Soviet Union. But you can see the Nazis in the end haven't conquered that much of the world. The Man in the High Castle has a much more extreme scenario. So here the Nazis outright won World War II and they've conquered basically all of Europe except Italy, which is independent and has their own empire. And the Nazis, I think they've conquered a third to half of the United States, and they've conquered a large part of Eurasia. And Dominion takes place in the early 50s, while The Man in the High Castle takes place in the early 60s. And Dominion takes place in Britain, while The Man in the High Castle takes place in the United States. And the Nazi regime in the United States is far more authoritarian than the regime in Britain, which is not really Nazi, but kind of fascist. And they're aligned with the Nazis, and they're slowly turning more and more authoritarian. They are becoming more and more anti-Semitic. They are in the process of beginning the deportation of the Jews, but they haven't carried it out yet really in Dominion. Here they basically killed all of the Jews in at least the eastern United States, and they have committed a large genocide in Africa. And this book is much more about the lives of regular people living under the regime of the Nazis and also of the Japanese on the West Coast. So you get a Japanese trade minister, you get a guy who owns a shop, you get a counterfeiter, you get some girl who meets some truckers. This one is about more high-level people, you could say. So you've got someone in the British service, you've got a German Gestapo guy, you've got a scientist that's kind of crazy, and Dominion is much more of a thriller than Man in the High Castle. The Man in the High Castle is more science fiction, you could say, and it's a lot weirder and confusing. Dominion has a lot of thrills, and of course The Man in the High Castle is a quite short book, only a couple hundred pages or so, while Dominion is a very large book. It's over 700 pages. And one similarity, although they cover different perspectives, both of these books have multiple perspectives in the third person. Another difference between these two books is that Dominion has a lot more flashbacks, while this book you have some weird stuff that happens that could not happen in our real world. It's impossible. And there's a lot more action in Dominion. There is some action towards the end in The Man in the High Castle, but apart from that there's basically none. And since Dominion is a thriller and The Man in the High Castle is slightly sci-fi, Dominion is a much more entertaining book to read. And there is something unsatisfying about The Man in the High Castle. There are some elements of this book that is very confusing. There's a part of the end of this book I did not really understand, so it's odd. And when you look at the endings, you could say that Dominion has a much more optimistic ending than The Man in the High Castle. So Dominion ends with the Nazi regime collapsing. Britain, that's had an authoritarian government, relapses back into their democracy. So the authoritarian, slightly anti-Semitic regime of Lord Beaverbrook and Oswald mostly collapses, and Nazi Germany collapses with the army under Rommel beating the SS after a bloody short civil war. While The Man in the High Castle, it ends with one of the main characters slits someone's throat and goes to the guy who's been writing some alternative history book saying that I saved you, and the guy that she saved kind of seems boring and doesn't really care. So the status quo of the beginning of the book in The Man of the High Castle is kind of the same, while things have improved in Dominion. If you ask me which is the superior novel, I would undoubtedly say Dominion is a much better read. While The Man in the High Castle, it's a decent book, but there are a lot of problems with it, and I've only read one other Philip K. Dick book, Why Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and that's an amazing novel, and it's far better than Man in the High Castle. Man in the High Castle is one of the worst alternative history books I've ever read. While Dominion, it's very good. There are many better alternative history books, but it's better than a lot of alternative history books also. And it offers a realistic alternative of how the Nazis could win World War II by making peace with Halifax instead of Churchill. While in The Man in the High Castle, there's no way the Nazis could conquer the United States. So I hope you enjoyed me comparing Dominion to The Man in the High Castle. I got this idea from the YouTuber Williams Library, who's done a couple book comparisons himself of alternative history and dystopia kind of. But let me know in the comments if you want me to compare other alternative history books. Anyways, I'm the avid reader, and I will see you readers next time.